I'm Kate,
And I'm Jamie, and this is Creeps and Coffee.
a show where we talk about the creepiest crime cases around the world
So, let's grab some coffee.
and have a chat.
Hi.
Hello, hello. We're back again.
And we're doing the bloop. This is the sound. we'll replay it for you. Okay, I'm done.
I'm gonna, Jamie's been eating chocolate chip, like straight chocolate chips out of the bag for a while now,
Oh.
unbeknownst to me. So there's a lot of, on top of caffeine happening, there's a lot of sugar going on and a stress ball. So,
Yeah, that's what that sound was. Okay, guys.
yeah. Anyway,
That's not actually the bloop.
no. But we are actually doing the bloop today.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to preface the bloop because when you told me about this, I had never heard of it.
Right?
It sounds, everybody knows that I'm into musical theater. It's not a secret at this point. So my favorite musical ever is Jersey Boys. And there's a scene in Jersey Boys where they're taking the main character to like practice singing in this church. But the friend who's taking him there brings his girlfriend along because his girlfriend has the car, and he promised her that he would take her to see the movie The Blob. So when Jamie told me about this thing called the Bloop, the first thing that popped in my mind was this 1950s Jersey voice going, "But I thought we were going to see the Bloop instead of the Blob." Oh, fuck you. You just blew a fart noise into a stress ball.
And that's called comedy. I have never seen that. What did you call it?
Musical?
Oh
Oh my god.
Same movie.
I mean, there is a movie version of it. I digress. I won't get into musicals this time. Before we get into anything, we have an exciting new thing to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So we were so lucky to work with a sponsor over the last couple episodes. We are in talks with a couple others, so it's really, really exciting. And more people are starting to listen to the show, which is amazing.
Woo!
We love you. We are so, so grateful for you. But we thought we'd really like a way to sort of connect with you guys and give you an opportunity to help support the show if that's something you'd like to do. Absolutely not necessary, but it's always good to kind of throw it out there. So we created a little donation page, I guess we could say. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com/creepsandcoffee, you can maybe donate a couple bucks, help us buy a coffee to get us through these recording sessions, putting up with each other.
Pay our rent.
Or you can just leave like a nice little note for us as a message of support.
Which really boosts our morale.
Yeah, exactly. It would be really nice to hear from you guys some more and to be able to connect with you. So, yeah, buymeacoffee.com/creepsandcoffee if you want to help support the show, whether that be financially, whether that be emotionally, moral support. We welcome it all, and we are very grateful for each and every one of you. And
I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere in the show notes. Right?
Yes, there will be. There'll be a link in our show notes. We'll put a link on our Instagram page. So stuff like that helps us to make bigger and better shows and do some more interesting stuff like the Bloop.
And hopefully, like, help us, like, one day get a mic.
Oh.
Or a camera.
Can you,
because we also have a YouTube channel now.
Oh, we sure do.
Sooner or later, we'll be able to record in person together and maybe even have a camera on as well.
I would love that. Yeah, right now our YouTube has our first 10 episodes. Well, minus the first one because we don't have to talk about that. But, yeah, episodes 2 through 10 are available. The others will be up there soon. I'm just switching them over from audio to video format.
Not too many views yet. I'm seeing like
Except
1 to 4 views on everything except
for Scientology. Now,
which is popping off.
how many times in that episode did I say I'm covering our asses because Scientologists are really into hearing what people have to say about Scientology? I said it 4 million times. Within 5 hours of posting that episode, we had like 50 views on it. Yeah. Now it's up to like almost 100.
We haven't had any hate comments though, so I don't think they could find anything.
No. Well, I don't know. We'll find out when they show up at our house.
Unless there's a draft of something and we're about to get sued that we just don't know about.
Exactly. That's what I'm scared of. So in that case, we'll need to pay for a lawyer. So I revert back to buymeacoffee.com/grapesandcoffee. No, we are super excited that the Scientology episode was popular and is continuing to be something that people are listening to, because talking about conspiracies is sort of the shit that we love to do.
It's my favorite thing. I have a list on a shared Google Doc we have of podcast ideas. 90% of them are conspiracy theories.
That is very true. And 100%
and this
of them
podcast
are
was
Jamie's
almost
ideas.
called Conspiracies and Coffee, let's be honest.
It was.
I got a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in Jamie's brain. So when we were talking about what sort of conspiracy episode we wanted to do, because we hadn't done one for a while, it felt like it was the right time in the rotation. She sent me a 5-minute audio clip describing a couple different topics in great detail.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I wasn't really listening, but I did hear her say the bloop, and that got my attention. And I was like, bloop?
That was what sold you? I was
like,
talking about Tesla on Venus, and you were like, the bloop.
Hold on. First of all, it caught my attention because that is a fantastic sound. And then I actually tuned in and listened to what you were saying. And I was like, that sounds fascinating. And there's so many different actual theories about what this could be. So I think there's a lot we can go over.
I'll allow it, I guess.
Thank you very much. I feel like I covered my ass pretty well there.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year, guys. It's been really bad so far.
Is this our first episode in the new year? No.
I think so. Wasn't the last one on like the 30th or the 31st?
Oh my god. Did we just skip over the fact that it's 2022?
Doesn't feel like it, and I don't really want it to be. Everybody from my childhood is dying, so...
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
What I do want to talk about in regards to time periods, though, is the Cold War.
Here we go.
So...
I'm just gonna mute you. Wave when you're done.
Okay. See, you see the level of disrespect I get? So back in the 1960s, thanks to a little thing called the Cold War. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about the Cold War. I'm like pretty well versed on like World War I, World War II history. Cold War, got nothing for you. All I know is that Russia scares me, and the Soviet Union had something to do with Dyatlov Pass. That's about all I got for you. But thanks to this very confusing thing called the Cold War, the U.S. Navy had a network of underwater microphones that were called hydrophones, because hydro means water.
I love hydrophones.
I love the roots of words.
Okay.
So anyway, they had hydrophones that were intended to track any movement from the Soviet Union. So secret subs, secret plans, maybe underwater missiles happening. They wanted to track any possible movement that could impact the United States. So they had hydrophones placed seemingly everywhere, like as far as they could without being suspicious and like obviously being caught by Soviet spies, because
That's suspicious.
Exactly. But, so they created this system, and they called it the Sound Surveillance System, or it's just occurring to me now, it's called SOSUS.
I like that name.
So, the super suspicious SOSUS created by the U.S. Navy was primarily used by the U.S. Navy. However, the Soviet Union disbanded officially in 1991, which is a whole other story. Again, I don't really understand it. Is it a thing? Is it not? Are people still... there's a lot. Anyway, not the point.
Don't ask me.
So, the Sound Surveillance System, or SOSUS, was still in the ocean. And people were like, well, we can still use this to our advantage. We don't have to pick up all these hydrophones and pretend they never existed. So this branch of scientists called the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or the NOAA.
NOAA.
The NOAA, which is much easier to say than the full name of the organization.
NOAA.
I kept calling it NOAA, and every video I watched was like the NOAA, and I was like, you guys suck. I was like, just make it fun. The NOAA got permission from the U.S. Navy to basically take over with the SOSUS system. Oh, me saying that is very similar to people saying ATM machine. The M in ATM is machine. So you're saying ATM machine. So me saying...
So it's just the AT machine?
Yeah. And then me saying the
Wait, what does AT mean? It's a genuine question.
Automated teller?
Oh!
I think.
Okay. I feel bad we don't know.
Anyway. But that's the same as me saying the Sound Surveillance System. So the SOSUS program was instead used for marine research. They decided that it was really going to be beneficial for things like tracking whales and their migratory patterns, the sounds that they were making, their like breeding patterns and stuff, and then things like underwater earthquakes, underwater volcanoes, all sorts of stuff that really happens in a place where we don't exist. We don't see what's going on underwater. It's really hard to actually figure out what's going on down there. So cameras can't really track it. A lot of times it's easier to listen and see what audio we can pick up, which is really cool because, like Jamie and I were talking about, like we've only explored 5% of the ocean. Like there's so much that it's not that we don't want to see it. We just can't. Like we don't have the technology yet. We know more about space than we do about the ocean.
Which is scary.
I hate it. I mean, we've talked about this.
And I don't know why. Yeah.
Like,
we've had lots of conversations about this.
Anytime either one of us brings up water, it turns into this like, oh, I hate it. I hate the water.
It's weird.
But it's not just us that think it's weird. So the NOAA in 1997 were using the hydrophones to listen for volcanic activity, which is super cool because they were like, ooh, any new islands gonna pop up? And as they're sitting there listening to their normal activity, they hear this sound. So this sound was unlike anything anyone had ever heard before. Ever.
Strange, powerful, and extremely loud.
Exactly. So it lasted for about 1 minute. It was a super, ultra low frequency, super high amplitude.
It was also heard through multiple of the microphones that were over 3,000 kilometers apart. So it was loud and far-reaching sounds.
So because it was picked up on so many hydrophones, they were able to sort of use where it was loudest on each of these systems and come up with an area of generally where they thought it might be. So this was a spot near, just off the west coast of South Africa, close to Antarctica, which, like, I'm going to be vulnerable here. I'm really bad with geography.
I can help. What's the problem?
I didn't realize they were that close. Like,
what was that close?
South Africa and Antarctica.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about it, yeah. But
have you ever looked at a map?
I've looked. The question is, have I ever retained any information from a map?
Probably not.
And as someone who has played Jeopardy with me many a time, you know the answer to that.
And as someone who's taken many geography classes, it hurts when you're like, where's Africa?
I know
Like,
where Africa
what?
is. I just often confuse the terms country and continent.
And there's a big difference.
I have an honors degree. Like, I need people to know that, like, I am an
Is
intelligent...
Africa a country or a continent? It starts with a C.
Yep, that doesn't help. Thanks. Continent? Oh, thank God. It's the first time I've
But
gotten...
South Africa is
a country. I think that's why I get confused.
You're good. Okay.
Anyway, I didn't realize South Africa and Antarctica.
We have listeners from South Africa. You have to support.
I'm so sorry. I think your country is beautiful.
You don't know where it is.
I just don't know where it is.
Okay.
Anyway.
This mysterious sound
So,
has been labeled the bloop.
This mysterious sound from an even more mysterious location has been very scientifically named the bloop. Now,
Can we get to my favorite part now?
no, hold on. I want to rant about this for a second. Because I said this before we started recording. When Jamie told me it was called the bloop, I was like, okay. I didn't think it was going to sound like a
bloop.
Bloop.
Bloop?
I was baffled. I listened to it like 40 times. I was like, what?
It sounds cute.
It does. It sounds like my kitchen sink.
That was it, guys. That's the mystery.
Mystery solved. We're done.
Sounds like when I used to fart in the tub as a kid.
As a kid. Okay.
Joke's on you, I just don't take baths anymore.
Anyway, so when they were recording and they discovered this, they were obviously freaked out. Like, imagine hearing this sound that no other human has ever heard, or at least admitted to hearing. And all of a sudden, trying to figure out what this huge noise could be in this vast expanse that's been unexplored by humans. That gave me the chills.
And the hiccups.
I hate thinking about water. Blech.
Question.
Yeah.
Are we going over all the conspiracies before we reveal what it really is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, first of all, an initial, not really conspiracy, but what the scientists said was that in order for something to make a noise like that, they compared it to a sound that they knew. They had information on the largest mammal in the water, which is the blue whale. So they were like, okay, we know that the blue whale makes this sound, but it's nothing.
Do you want to insert a clip of that?
Sure. Oh, I
a whale?
love blue whales.
They're so beautiful. Oh. The sounds are like angels singing to me.
This is gonna really show how depressing I get when I'm home alone. Have you heard the one of that, like, blue whale that sings at a frequency that no other... I don't know if it's a blue whale. The whale that sings at a frequency that no other whale can hear. So he doesn't have a pod.
With unique the 52 hertz whale?
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
So no other whales can hear him calling. So he's just, like, constantly calling out. It's so sad.
Do you want me to cry? Stop.
It's beautiful. I highly recommend.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, so they said that it was not the same sound as a whale, like that sort of moaning that you just heard, but that it was very similar in frequency to biological sounds. So sounds that did exist in the ocean, as far as we know.
By animals.
Yes, that's what biological means.
Oh.
So their conclusion then was that if this sound, this bloop, I feel so like this is such a serious scientific thing, and they're like, the bloop.
Mm-hmm.
So if this bloop was a biological sound, if it was coming from a living creature, it would have to be substantially larger than the largest of known sea animals. So it would have to be...
think bigger than the megalodon shark.
Like, it would have to be insane. But I have a counter to that theory.
Okay.
The pistol shrimp.
What?
So I...
Shut up.
You see the abuse I get?
Whoa, okay.
So, I watched this documentary during COVID on different types of shrimp. Don't worry about it. And they talked
That's
about...
red flag number 1.
It's fine. And they talked about this thing called a pistol shrimp. And there's no other way to describe what this shrimp looks like than it looks like a shrimp that is aggressively jacked off with one arm. Because one arm is huge and the other is like a normal shrimp arm. Go look up a picture and tell me that I'm wrong.
Mom, can you pick me up? I'm scared.
So, even though the shrimp is tiny, like the size of a shrimp, it has this one huge claw arm that it uses to snap.
It's like a lobster.
Yeah. But it, like, snaps and shoots the equivalent of, like, bullets. But because it snaps with such force, it shoots these bubbles that are, like, hard because of the amount of force. Like, it pushes the air so aggressively. And it shoots it at enemies and at prey to kill them. But this thing is so powerful that the sound that a pistol shrimp makes when it snaps, that I wish you guys could see the look that she's giving me right now, it rings in at 210 decibels.
And what are the decibels of the bloop, though?
But hold on. So, she steals my thunder, and I really... So, the pistol shrimp is 210 decibels. For reference, a blue whale, the call of a blue whale is up to 188 decibels. So, for further reference, because I need a lot of comparisons, a jet engine is 140 decibels. And that's about the sound, like, that's about the point where humans will start to experience, like, intense pain from the amount of sound that's happening. Like 70, like half of that, like 70 decibels is about like where humans can comfortably withstand something without prolonged damage. So I'm not saying this was louder than the bloop because no one recorded how many decibels the bloop was, but it was obviously louder than anything. But my counter to their theory is that if this fucking shrimp that's like 1/billionth the size of a blue whale can make a sound like 30 decibels louder than the whale, why does this biological sound have to come from something substantially larger than the blue whale?
Maybe because of how far the sound traveled?
Like, I see where they're coming from with it, but I don't think it has to be... Like, I don't think that's a justification for it.
I follow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. If I was a scientist working on that, and so were you, though, I would tell you to shut up. But...
I would tell myself to shut up.
But I hear where you're coming from, and I respect your opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I don't believe you, but I'll take it.
Do you see how we went from bullying to respectful in, like... 2 minutes.
That's how a real relationship works.
Yeah. So can I talk trash?
Can I talk my shit again? But it was basically that theory of it needs to be fucking huge that led to what I assume is Jamie's favorite of the theories.
I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about.
Please, enlighten us.
Hand me the microphone. So, as we've mentioned, one of their first running theories was that it's a giant sea creature of some sort or something making this sound. Mm-hmm. There was also thoughts it could be like a different whale species, a giant squid, like, you know, the kraken.
Sorry, I'm going to interject again. I'm going to steal the mic back.
Go for it. Okay.
Here
you go.
Go for it. In terms of the giant squid thing, I was reading up on the, like, biggest giant squid that people ever found. And it was called the Mangapina squid. It was 26 feet long with tentacles 20 times its size. And there was, like, one video captured of it.
Is that real?
Yeah. So, like, giant squids are, like, a thing.
See, no, I don't like that at all.
I don't either. I don't like the water.
Like, I have goosebumps on my back.
I don't like the water, guys.
We could do a whole episode on the ocean itself
we
and everything in it.
I wouldn't sleep. But anyway, I just...
Thank you for that.
You said
nasty.
squid, and I was like, I need people to know about how big the squid is.
Thank you. I didn't need to know that. But yeah, for the bloop, there was also some talks that maybe it was just like something man-made, like a fishing winch or a boat, but they couldn't really find anything, right? Mm-hmm. So people, like the general public, also, it kind of went like viral back for 1997, you know?
Absolutely.
And people went crazy and were like, oh my God, it's a giant animal, it's a giant creature. And one of the main theories was that it was Cthulhu. Is this who you were talking about earlier? Mm-hmm. Now, I can give some history on Cthulhu.
Please do.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Okay. So, Cthulhu, I will describe, guys. Apparently, it's an anthropod with octopus-like head, rubbery, scaly. How do you describe? Apparently, it had wings.
But the thing with Cthulhu is it's like he's the great one, you know? He's too powerful to be fully visualized. He's the ancient
not
god.
Real.
Okay, well, somebody's here to kill the mood.
But anyway. Yeah, I'm going to steal Caitlin's thunder. Cthulhu, this old one, this great, magical, powerful creature, is a fictional entity by H.P. Lovecraft.
Supposedly fictional.
Supposedly, yes. Introduced in a story called The Call of the Cthulhu in a magazine from 1928 called Weird Tales. So that kind of solves that for me right there, that the fact that it's a fake, supposedly fake creature. So, yeah, I'm gonna say that that's not what made the bloop sound, but go ahead. What do you want to say?
Well, here's the thing. People, like, were joking about it being Cthulhu for a little bit. They were like, oh, Cthulhu, this big thing underwater. But then, so in The Call of the Cthulhu, sorry, I got way too excited about that, and I heard myself. In this original Lovecraftian tale, the place where Cthulhu is trapped, or like, not trapped, but like waiting to be unearthed.
Like dormant?
Yes, that's the word I was trying to think of. We're really sharing one brain cell tonight, folks. We're passing it back and forth. So where Cthulhu was lying dormant is around, like, give or take a couple, but around 1,000 kilometers from where the bloop happened. So where Lovecraft based this sunken city of Relay is very close off the coast of South Africa.
And yeah, apparently Cthulhu was like under the Earth's crust.
Yeah, so
sleeping there.
So this city, kind of like Atlantis, but like cooler, sunk, and that was where Cthulhu was resting, waiting to be like the ancient one brought up again, kind of like Godzilla.
Well, apparently all the old ones went dormant. I don't know why. I haven't actually read the tale, though.
Because humans came around and they were like, no thanks.
Not gonna deal with that.
Yeah.
But apparently when the conditions are correct, the city will rise again and the Cthulhu cult will start and Cthulhu will awaken and people were like, this is it. It's time.
Welcome to 2022, folks.
Honestly, wouldn't shock me. That's sad.
Yeah.
The fact that a giant godlike creature rising up from the ocean to kill us all, and I go,
not necessarily.
You know what? Kind of expected it.
Yeah, wouldn't put it past anything. But no, it's
That's how
very
crazy the world is.
So people also went off of that, and they were like, could it be something like Godzilla? Which is very similar. Like, if you watch, especially, like, the most recent Godzilla movies, he's, like, lying dormant in a sunken city. Like,
literally, yeah.
There was that. There was,
Godzilla's Cthulhu?
How dare you? They're different.
Yeah, okay.
But there was also, like, I shouldn't have scoffed. Not to judge. People are allowed to accept whatever they like, but some biblical people were like, it's a Leviathan.
Also an option.
Again, 2022, who knows? But yeah, so Cthulhu, Leviathan, Godzilla.
And these kind of, like, giant animalistic god stereotypes were perpetuated a lot in, like, a cultural phenomenon of the 21st century. Big words from Jamie, yes.
Oh my god.
And this added to, like, the mythos and the metafiction.
Oh my god.
I know! And so it was also the hype of, like, the 80s and 90s horror movies was really playing into things.
Big time.
And video games, board games, card games, role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my
and
god,
stuff.
absolutely.
It was all kind of culminating, and this this phenomenon kind of exploded, and everyone was like, the bloop. What's the bloop?
Somebody figure out the bloop.
And yeah, everyone was like, it's something magical, mysterious, otherworldly. Unfortunately, that's not really the case, though.
Well, some people said it was mermaids, and I like to believe that theory.
I would like to believe that, too.
Jamie and I used to tell people we were mermaids. But as we've
I
gone
went
over,
through everything. I said I was a vampire, a wizard, a mermaid, a twin, a robot.
witch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I tried to convince people I was a mermaid with Jamie, but again, as mentioned, I can't swim, so it was not.
I can't swim.
I can't swim. It's not a very.
Happy birthday, Raven.
Not a very convincing ruse. What I was though, and what I still am, is a
Conspiracy theorist.
Well, there's that. I was gonna say a bit of an expert on a certain maritime disaster. I don't think we've gone into it yet. But I'm a bit of a connoisseur when it comes to Titanic. So let's go back to 1997, shall we?
I guess.
Not only did the bloop... She just took her headphones out. Anyway, not only did the NOAA first hear the bloop in 1997, but a little movie called Titanic, directed by a man named James Cameron, was released in 1997. So that movie changed my life. The ship I've studied since I was 6. It's a real problem, especially if you ask Jamie.
Yep.
But based on all of the intense research I've done for the last, I can't do math, 90% of my life, I'm somewhat of an iceberg expert.
That's a sad thing to announce, but yes.
Well, you know what? I gotta be proud of something. So, might as well be this.
Okay.
So, when we were looking at theories, and it came to looking at ice and seeing what sounds ice could make, I was like, oh, I'm in. This is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2005, what is that? 8 years?
8 years. Yeah.
Math. 8 years after the bloop, the NOAA is still trying to figure out what the sound is. Like, they have no idea. But they decide that they're going to do an acoustical survey close to the location of the bloop, again looking for volcanic activity underwater. So they were like, we'll see. Between 2005 and 2010, they continued this survey, and they claimed that they heard almost identical, very similar sounds to the bloop.
I call bull, but okay, continue.
I also call bull because they said the mystery was solved. And anytime anyone says mystery solved, I am suspicious.
Yeah, have you ever seen Scooby-Doo? Come on. There's always a man under the mask.
Exactly. I wasn't allowed to watch Scooby-Doo because it scared me. Anyway.
Oh.
But that theory, your statement still stands.
Yeah.
So they said that the bloop was the sound of what?
Apparently an iceberg breaking away from an Arctic glacier.
Mm-hmm.
Antarctic glacier?
Arctic.
Yeah.
So...
But neither of us seems to believe that.
No, and here's why.
We have lots of reasoning.
We have lots of reasons. So, this is what's known as an ice quake, or a cryoseism.
Oh.
So, earthquakes and ice quakes are both measured by seismographs, so to measure the intensity of them. So, cryoseisms, seismographs, you get it.
Yeah.
These ice quakes happen mostly near Antarctica, sometimes in like Greenland and that sort of area, but mostly in the Arctic where it's especially really cold. So basically what it is, when water freezes, so when the water from the ground, from the glacier, freezes very quickly in the cold temperatures that happen, obviously in a very cold place, you get really one of Earth's rarest geological events. So what happens is it freezes so quickly, and when water freezes, it expands. So when that expansion happens, it starts to break up the ice that's around it and sort of the not as firm, like maybe more slushy areas, breaks that up. And then the closer it is to the glacier itself, it's going to break up the soil and it's going to break up the rock, and it's going to cause the equivalent of an earthquake on this glacier. So it's not as intense as an earthquake. It's a lot weaker in terms of like measuring on a seismograph how intense it is, but it's very loud. Like ice cracking is a super loud sound, especially if it's cracking in a spot where it can echo. So what these scientists said in 2012, they officially declared mystery solved. It was just cracking ice. And they were like, nobody worry about it.
Can I go off a little?
Please.
We can take turns going off.
Yeah.
My first question is, number one, why did it take 8 years to figure out, ice? Also, two, maybe you could insert a clip of the sound of ice cracking.
Absolutely.
It doesn't really sound the same, gonna be honest. I've heard it. I've done it. I've thrown rocks on ice and, broken through and listened. Like, the bloop sounds rounder with the bloop.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it sounds
as if something's releasing an air bubble, not cracking ice. Swamp gas. And I wrote in my notes, ice sounds sharp, crackly, fast. Bloop sounds soft, squishy, smooth.
It's not going to last a minute.
Yeah. And, like, I did say they are both underwater and echoey and are caught on hydrophones. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's enough to be like, yep, that's what it was. And I just wanted to say I sent, or I guess you can play there's 3 other recordings of different ice formations making sounds from 2007. These are hydrophone recordings. None of them sound like the bloop. Not at all.
No. And that's exactly what I was going to say, was Jamie sent over these 3 clips, which are fascinating to listen to because it's, like,
Yeah.
the main argument for it is, like, oh, well, the technology wasn't the same. Like, technology wasn't great enough to actually capture what it sounded like. But then their rebuttal for that is like, oh, yeah, I know the more recent hydrophone doesn't capture the same sound, but if you layer the first 2 sounds together and then you speed it up times 64, it sounds exactly like the bloop. And I'm like, so it doesn't.
Yeah, that was another thing I read. I read something about them saying, like, oh, if you play the sound back, it's actually a misconception. It's played at a 16 times normal speed. I don't think so.
No.
Why would they do that?
It doesn't make sense
if
to
they
me.
did, then if it's 16 times slower, there's no sound. It just sounds like a low rumble.
Exactly.
That wouldn't cause scientists to be like, oh my god, what is this?
No.
Oh my god. They'd be like, sounds like an earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to play the bloop at 16 times slower than normal, you're not going to hear anything strange.
No. Well, like, I'll play the bloop and then the more modern hydrophone back to back right now, so you guys can hear it
Yes, please.
for yourselves.
And, like, apparently it sounds like thunder, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I don't know.
Eh.
Like, obviously...
I have more to rant about,
Yeah.
but I'll let you go.
I'm going to finish up my rant because I'm going to end off by saying I'm obviously not a scientist. Just
True.
because I studied Titanic for a large portion of my life, I know more about the ship than I know about icebergs. So I'm going to put on the record, I'm joking when I say I'm an iceberg expert. But I have done a fair amount of research on them. And the sort of sounds that come from them, there's a lot of different sounds that come from splashing and breaking and flipping and all of the weird things that ice does in the water.
Mm-hmm.
None of that, however, none of the recordings I've heard, the icebergs I've heard flip in the water and, like, break off in real life, like, none of them make a sound similar to the bloop.
As a Canadian, you're qualified to say.
Exactly. As someone who lived on the east coast of Canada and saw many an iceberg, it doesn't add up for me. And I know icebergs and, like, glaciers are different, but the fundamental sound of ice does not differ significantly from iceberg to glacier.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I see where they're coming from in it being a compelling theory, but I don't think they can definitively say this is exactly what it is because we layered the audio and we changed the speed and then it sounds that way. It's like, yeah, but I could layer my voice with something else and change the speed and sound like Beyonce. That doesn't mean I'm Beyonce. Like,
beautiful.
Thank you. I
really like that comparison.
I thought of that on the spot.
And it's like, okay, so if ice cracking, which is a relatively common event, why did it get the NOAA, the NOAA, into such a tizzy?
Yeah,
for 8 years. 8 to, like, 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, are you still going?
No, I'm done.
Still ranting? Okay. So, yeah, I had more to say. Let me read my notes. Oh, yeah. I also wanted to know, why was it unlike anything they'd heard before? Have you ever heard somebody, like, breathe underwater? the air bubbles sound like a bloopish sound to me, more so than anything. Like, fish make that sound. My fish did that. Like, I don't know. And, like, I get unique characteristics of the sound.
It's a bloop.
It doesn't correlate with the ice crack.
No.
When I hear ice cracking, even the videos on YouTube underwater, it doesn't sound like bloop, bloop, bloop. It sounds like... not exactly like
Sorry,
that.
I didn't quite catch
Don't
that.
quote
Can
me.
you do that one more time?
I don't think I should. But also, I wanted to say, this unique sound, if it's just a glacier breaking off or just ice cracking, show me more clips.
Yeah.
Show me more bloop sounds that have happened in the past 24 years. I want to hear more.
Well, they talk
there should be multiple examples, because isn't that part of the scientific theory to prove your hypothesis, have proof? Mm-hmm. Show me more than one occasion that this has been done.
Exactly.
I might also not have found it, but I haven't found it.
But online. They talk about how, like, these ice quakes happen on a daily basis in Antarctica. So why doesn't, get more audio of it? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, especially with how technology has advanced.
Exactly.
Get more audio. People would love to listen to that on a loop for 8 hours on YouTube to fall asleep. Do it. Like, I don't know why they haven't. People listen to other things, like people chewing boba for 8 hours. Like, come on. Show us. Don't be shy. Show us.
I would much prefer to listen to the bloop.
Yeah. And apparently these sounds, not these sounds, ice quakes are getting more and more common because of
global warming
and climate change, breaking glaciers off and cracking ice, melting into the ocean, which means it should be more and more common. So play the audios.
Yeah.
Release it to the public.
Exactly.
And the saying it sounds like ice, I wrote here at 4 a.m. in my notes, feels like a cop-out. I don't know. Just feels like it sounds different and wouldn't be so loud.
You know what it sounds like
I've
to me?
heard ice crack. Doesn't sound like that. No. Oh, I also have audio of me cracking ice. That sounds really cool if you want to play that.
You know what it sounds like to me?
What?
So sus.
It does sound so sus. And I think I'm pretty much done my rant, but I wanted to say, I might be wrong. I might be full of it, but I also might not be. That's why I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. However, I think we merit, I don't know what word I should say after that. I think you should take us into consideration because science has been wrong before.
That's the thing about
And the government has lied before.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot trust
Midnight
everything
agrees.
that the so-called... I know, I heard it. Thank you, Midnight. The so-called officials say this is what's up, because it's not always the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Question everything. Like, I don't believe it until proven otherwise.
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
the thing about science, is that, realistically speaking, science is not meant to be proved absolutely true. It's meant to be proven falsifiable. Theories change, answers change.
Yes.
And not being open to different possibilities. I'm not saying it's Cthulhu, but
it could be like a giant squid that hasn't been discovered.
we don't know what it is. We don't know what's in the water anywhere.
Yeah. Which is not settling.
No, that doesn't make me feel any better. I don't feel any closer to a conclusion. No. I'm just saying it should not be looked
Keep an
past.
open mind.
Exactly.
And that's something I love about conspiracies, not even just the bloop, is that, yes, you can obviously disprove some theories, like Kylie Jenner's a reptilian. Like, I
don't know.
Like, some things can be proven beyond a doubt. Flat Earth, not real.
That one I'll give you.
Yeah. But then other ones, it's like, you can't prove it, but you also can't disprove it.
Exactly.
And then
it's
that
that-
kind of
yeah.
leaves it to your own imagination.
It's the suspension of disbelief, and I think that's beautiful.
And so, yeah, that's my rant over. We really just have to let you guys decide what you think. Do you believe the scientists? Or do you think maybe it could be something more?
Do you have other theories that we didn't cover? I know lots of people talked about, like, secret military experiments. Maybe it was the Soviets, like, trying to make
Really
a
could,
comeback.
Let us know your theories.
Please. We would love to hear it. You can let us know. You can follow us on Instagram. Send us a message there at creepsandcoffee, or on Twitter at creepsandcoffee. Or you can send us an email at creepsandcoffee@gmail.com. You can send us a message at our Buy Me a Coffee, so buymeacoffee.com/creepsandcoffee.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just keep in touch. We love hearing from you guys. We love hearing what you have to say, what sorts of things you're thinking about. Because contrary to popular belief, Jamie and I can't know everything.
As much as we like to think we do.
Exactly. So whatever your thoughts are, we want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that it?
I think so. I think that's
Cut.
the bloop. Whoa, that's the bloop.
The bloop? The bloop?
Oh my God, we have to go now.
Yes, sir. Thanks for listening, guys.
See you in 2 weeks. Bye. Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and James.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Creeps and Coffee.